This is Money Man, Eddie Money, and welcome to South Detroit Soundhouse. You might find something interesting in this.
Hey all, welcome to South Detroit Soundhouse. My name is Randy Falsetta and we are here in Warren, Michigan at Andiamo's showroom with the hardest working man in showbiz, rock and roll biz, the iconic Eddie Money.
Thank you so much, Randy.
Welcome to the show.
I think that the hardest working man in show business used to be James Brown's lawyer. But we do a lot of shows and it's great. We got a lot of great fans out of there. I was blessed with about 12 or 13 songs in the top 100. And we give them a good show, and people get out there and start spinning them tambourines and hitting on all these pretty Michigan chicks, and the rest just falls in order.
So I just wanted to start about talking about your relationship with Detroit and Michigan and such, and some of your fans that aren't from Michigan may or may not know this, but since 1989, the last 25 years, you've been the unofficial concert season opener at DTE, formerly Pine Knob.
Right, sure.
And I just wanted to know how your relationship with DTE started.
If you think about Grand Rapids or Toledo or Flint or Auburn Hills or all the surrounding cities around Detroit, I think it's a real honor. And to, see, when I was in high school, we did a lot of songs by Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels. I was really into that. And of course, Aretha Franklin and Smokey Robinson, we do You Really Got a Hold on Me. Yeah. And I was very partial. And of course, Bob Seger and I, our wives used to send each other Christmas cards. And I mean, who doesn't love Bob Seger? And to come out and have like Bob Seger at one of my shows, or Kid Rock, or Mitch Ryder, or Aretha Franklin, or it's just like it reminds me of Long Island rock and roll. We grew up with the Rascals and of course Leslie West and stuff like that. It's I guess a pretty blue collar rock, but I just have always been very fond of Michigan. We've always done we do well in Michigan, we do well in Minnesota, we do well in Wisconsin. But I have to say that, when it comes to DTE and all these people come from all these surrounding cities, man, come down just shaking with the money, man. It's just a lot of fun,
Yeah.
And if we didn't do such good business, they wouldn't have me back every year.
That's right.
And we draw a lot of chicks.
That's why the guys come to the show.
Right.
But we saw your tour itinerary, and you're a busy guy in 2015.
Right.
And one of the dates I wanted to talk about was, I believe it's February 19th. You're going on the third installation of the Rock Legends Tour.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun, that Rock Legends Tour. You got some really good musicians. And
they've invited you along with some serious heavy hitters. You got the Doobie Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
You've got Blue Oyster Cult.
Right, sure.
And Pat Travers and such. And just wanted to ask you...
Crash and Burn, me and Pat, we go way back. When we hung out, we were hanging out in the late 70s together. And he's a great guitar player. I mean, that's quite a build, too. Blue Oyster Cult, come on, man. Reaper Man, those guys are from Long Island. And I don't know, I'm really looking forward to doing that. And the Doobie Brothers, come on, man. They're fantastic.
Fantastic.
But that's it. Doobie Brothers were big when I was still cutting my teeth at the little clubs. They were, but they're really good.
Yeah. Are you bringing the family along?
Tom Johnson, and I might bring the folks with the kids out, but probably not. Nobody wants to go out. They think my music is boring.
That's the last thing it is boring.
No, I got 2 tickets, but I'm taking everybody,
I just wanted to ask you about you as a family man, because we're talking about family. 5 kids, 4 boys, 1 girl, and your wife Lori, obviously.
My wife Lori. Yeah. Well, we've had the kids. We had like 5 kids. I should have got that TV fixed, huh? Well, my kids are very talented. My kid Des. Yeah. If you download DesMoneyMusic.com, I think he's going to be a very successful artist. And of course, Jessica sings like Janis Joplin. She sings the tail off. And she comes on the road with me when she's broke. Otherwise, she stays home and does nothing. She goes to boyfriends like my wife goes to new dishes. But she's very talented. And the kids are good. They're not in rehabs. They're not in jail. They're not doing anything stupid. So I'm very lucky that they're all under one roof and I can watch them like a hawk.
That's right. Well, I heard you're the new Joe Jackson. Is that right?
Well, I start picking on the kids. My wife says to me, "Leave the kids alone. What are you, Joe Jackson?" But I'm only trying to give them good advice, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah. Next thing I want to talk about is your musical. This is kind of a left turn
Very
for
happy
you?
about the musical. I went to see Jersey Boys, and the camaraderie that the Four Seasons had reminded me very much of the band that I went out to California with, which was my band in high school called the Grapes of Wrath. And the whole story is like my father was Patrolman of the Year, and I quit the police department, which really upset him. And I moved out to California, got a record deal, making $1,000 a minute, and then I had that drug overdose. People said, "How did you OD?" I said, "I was drunk and it was free." How do you think I OD'd? But that was very terrible. But I came back with that, and we did the No Control album, and I'm happy to say that the good Lord loves me because we've sold like 29 million records. I mean, we're not Sting and the Police, but I've done very well for myself, and people always recognize, 2 tickets and Baby Hold On and Take Me Home Tonight, Walk on Water, and it's just Think I'm in Love. It's just a lot of fun to see people light up when they get out there because they reminisce about the songs I've had. I was very lucky to have as many songs as I did on the radio,
I know. But the musical, I mean, it's 2 tickets.
The musical's a
service.
lot of fun, and I've written a lot of new songs for the musical.
7 songs.
When I grew up, my parents used to go see Damn Yankees and Carousel and Annie Get Your Gun and all these really great productions. And they'd come home, and the record was always an RCA record.
Right.
And I would act out a lot of these songs with my little sisters. And I decided to put a Broadway show together, and it all about me moving out to California and getting a record deal, and it's meeting Laurie. And I think the play is really interesting, and it's getting really good response. I got a great write-up in Newsday magazine, which is a big paper, and
Right.
they're real sticklers out there. And I get out there and I narrate. I've got a kid named Matt Burns that plays a young Eddie Money, and he does No Control and Baby Hold On, and the girl that plays my wife Laurie, they do Take a Little Bit Together, and it's everybody seems to like the play. We're getting standing ovations, so I should thank my lucky stars,
Yeah,
right?
That's right. And that's tomorrow night and Sunday.
That's going to be tomorrow night, actually, at Malloy College. It's in Long Island. You got to take the Southern State and get off exit 20 South. But it's a Catholic college, and it's good that there's a lot of people coming down, and there's a good word out about the play. We just finished doing a piece for VH1, and we just did a piece for a lot of the critics are into it. I was very surprised, that it's going over as well as it is.
Yeah. Well, you have a special organization that you're.
Well, I do a lot.
money
We
to.
try to do a lot for the Intrepid Fallen Hero Foundation. These kids coming back from Afghanistan, which they say is a police action right now, or Iraq, and these kids coming back with these. I sense a kid, our veterans coming back with these head trauma injuries, and they have a facility in San Antonio with about 120 beds, and I'm excited to say they just built another facility in Maryland, and my heart goes out to these vets. And it's a non-profit charitable organization, and we just sent them a check for another $6,000, which I'm very proud of. And we do what we can to help. We get off the plane. I told all the suits, that's what we call ourselves, the suits. When the vets get off the plane, let's really give them a standing ovation, and they really appreciate that.
That's great. That's great.
I mean, they're over there serving our country. It's 114 degrees. They have a 70-pound pack on their back. And you don't know who to trust over there.
Yeah.
That's why they got to rely on each other with the buddy system.
Yeah.
But my heart goes off to our men and women that serve in our country. I think it's very commendable. I do. Don't you?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
It's really great.
I can see it's near and dear to your heart to have that.
Well, I run into a lot of their parents and their sisters and their brothers, and then I run into people that are, with amputees, or a lot of cases out there where a lot of the guys aren't coming back with everything that they went over there with. But they got a lot of faith and a lot of heart. And what I really hate to see, which really upset me tremendously, and about a year ago, I was very upset to think about a lot of these vets coming back that didn't get the care that they deserved, contemplating suicide. And a lot of these guys are married, and it's like things like that. You got to do what you can for these kids, and they are just kids to me. I mean, I'm in my mid-60s, and to see these guys serving our country over there, it's just, it's amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good inside that,
does.
the love of these people have for this country,
Paying it forward.
Right on, thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate that, Randy.
Yeah. Just want to kind of go back a little bit to the musical, and I know you have 7 new songs from what I hear.
We got a song that's a lot like She's Leaving Home by the Beatles, a song called No More Goodbyes that the young Eddie Money sings to his mother when he's leaving home. He's actually singing it to a picture. and a song that my mother sings to him called "I Only Want the World for You." And there's a beautiful song called "This Train Don't Stop Here Anymore" with young Eddie Money in a wheelchair because I killed the sciatic nerve in my left leg.
Wow.
You know, and I couldn't walk for about 9 or 10 months, which was very horrifying to say the truth.
Yeah.
But it's really a good play. It's very touching, and of course Laurie's in it, and to have my mother, somebody portray my mom into it. My dad's, you know, the cop. He's coming home and I'm ripping down my Jimi Hendrix posters, and he's all upset. And there's a song called "California Here I Come." It's a really cool play. I hope that we're gonna get it on videotape, and you know, but I don't really want to do a TV version of it. You know, I mean, when they made Rock of Ages into a movie, it took all the mystique out of it, and I don't think that Tom Cruise was really the guy to do that role. To tell you the truth, but what do I know? I don't think.
Well, the reason I asked the question about the 7 new songs is we need a brand new Eddie Money record.
Well, you know what? I've got a record that's really ready to pop. I mean, if you look at a friend of mine, Tom Petty, hadn't put a record out in 10 years. And he was signed to Warner Brothers, and he put a record out, which was a great album, I might add. And it was like number one for like 2 weeks on the charts on Warner Brothers. And I haven't put a record out in 15 years already.
It's been a while.
Warner Brothers is interested, and I've really got a great record just ready to go. I got an instrumental, like a ZZ Top thing called "Shake That Thing." I wrote a song about my daughter. I'm very excited about the record, you know.
Yeah, we can't wait. Everybody's waiting for the big Eddie Money release.
Well, it's, you know, I mean, once they buy your greatest hits, you're lucky to sell a new record. But you look at Tom Petty. If you got really great music, and it sounds like an Eddie Money record from the '70s and the '80s, I think it's going to do really well.
Yeah, I hope so. But that's what we've been waiting for, so, you know.
Well, thank you so much.
And what I wanted to actually ask you
I was going to call it $7.99. I'm only teasing.
Or free on the internet. No downloading.
No.
Anyway, what I wanted to ask you was, has songwriting now changed today than it did back in the 80s? Like, is there a different approach
Well, I
now?
got to tell you the truth. You know, I always think that chicks are always a sucker for a good love song. Two Tickets to Paradise, Baby Hold On to Me, Maybe I'm a Fool, oh, Can I Fall in Love Again? You know, it's just like, you know, I've always been a bit of a romanticist, and I think if you write songs about, you know, whether you're driving in your daddy's car, like a song like "Shakin'" going down the freeway, or and I'll Get By, breaking up with you, give me one last look. You know, there's songs that really hit home. I think romance is always on the back of everybody's mind, you know? Like we do songs like "Two Tickets to Paradise," "Take Me Home Tonight." I've talked to people talking about making love to their wife in the front seat of the car, and I'm going, I don't, you know. But it's great to have so many great fans out there, and my voice still sounds pretty good, and the guys do play the songs a lot like the record. So I think that the closer you can get to playing the songs like the record, I mean, people don't want to come out and, you know, they remember even every guitar note and every solo. If it went over so well, why don't you give it to them the way they bought it?
Absolutely.
You know, that's what I would.
Absolutely.
And Led Zeppelin says the same thing. We do it like the record.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Wow. Just a couple more questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
How has the internet affected Eddie Money and the Eddie Money machine? Is there any?
Well, it's really
positives or
crazy
negatives that you
because
think?
there's a lot of people that I meet. I meet a lot of these women that are in their 50s, and they got a son or a daughter sitting next to them that are like 20, 21 years old. And they said, we haven't come to the show in 10 years because I was raising them. So all of a sudden, the kids are 21, 22, and they're showing up to the shows. And then we got these kids that are 6, 7 years old that I can bring them up on stage, and they know all the lyrics to Think I'm in Love or Take Me Home Tonight. So the internet, and they have this thing called the Ed Heads. These guys got this poster picture of me that they're all over the country, and they come with these signs, almost like you know, Sports Center when they put the sign over, and they call themselves Ed Heads, and they show up all over the country, and it's really great to have a great mixture of fans. You know, I've got fans in their 70s. I mean, I just did an autograph for somebody that turned 100 years old. And his great granddaughter wanted me to sign something for him, so I did. I couldn't believe it. He said my great grandfather's 100 years old, and I was amazed. And I got the guy on the phone, and I sent him a nice poster. He got a kick out of it.
That's fantastic.
But to have a fan 100 years old, that's pretty cool.
Yes.
You know.
Well, how do I say this? But Eddie Money has been around, and you're such a legend.
Well, thank you, sir.
And
I wish my wife was a fan.
But you've been around so long for us, and we've listened to your hits, and they're just, just staples in our
Right,
memories.
yeah.
And I want to ask, how long can Eddie Money keep up at the rate he's been at?
Well, you know what, I tell you, my wife's got me on the treadmill right now, and eating the right foods and eating more salads and cutting back on the pasta and the carbs and everything else like that. And, quit drinking was good for me because my voice sounds better. Not that I ever got drunk before the shows like a Jim Morrison or a Janis Joplin, but I just feel like, my voice is in great shape. And when I do a Baby Hold On, or we do that song, Take a Little Bit, or Endless Nights, I want to do a song for all my ladies from the 80s, and we do break out with Endless Nights.
Yeah.
It's really great to see people having a great time.
Yeah.
It's really, and I'm on top of my game, I'm sharp, and I really enjoy what I do. And I thank the big guy upstairs for giving me the fortitude and the strength and my voice holding up, that people really, like tonight, we're gonna have a fantastic time out there.
Yeah,
It's a supper club, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna eat some really good food, I'm gonna be really nice close to the fans out there, and I just enjoy it,
Yeah. Well, my last question. Famous lyric, I want to go back,
Oh, sure.
of course, and do it all over.
Well, I recall hanging out on Friday night, remember? The first slow dance, hoping that I get it right. That was like dance in high school when the teacher used to separate you
That's
when you
right.
were too close. But that's great. I mean, who wouldn't want to go back and do it all over again?
Right. Well, my
you know?
question to you is, if you could go back,
Right.
what would you do over?
Well, if I went back, I probably wouldn't have had the overdose because I was really stupid and drunk and I snorted something that I didn't know what it was. But outside of that, I probably would have done a lot less drinking and a lot less fighting with my wife, but we're still together, and the kids are doing okay. You know what? You got to turn the page. What you did in the past is in the past. I mean, going on the road with the Stones was a lot of fun, and going on the road with the Who, and playing with Fleetwood Mac, and playing with 38 Special, and REO Speedwagon, and Styx. It's just, Survivor. We play with, a lot of greats. Peter Frampton.
Yeah.
And these guys are still going out there making a living, because I thought that the music in the 80s was probably the best rock and roll in the world, really, if you think about it.
I agree.
I thought
agree.
80s music, it's still hanging out. The kids still love it, That's what it's all about,
Well, Eddie, I just want to say it's been an honor to have you
Well,
on our
thank you.
show.
Lots of luck, and I'm glad you did your
Yeah.
homework, Randy.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Eddie Money, everybody. Icon. Anyway, this is Randy Falsetta from South Detroit Soundhouse, and we'll see you on our next chat.
I got 2 tickets, but I'm taking everybody. Come down and do some shaking with the money. I'll see you in the lobby.